Hello everyone, this is Caro from Lacey's Creations here in South Australia. Well, before I start on this journal, I have to say thank you to all my new subscribers and for the absolutely overwhelming response that I have had from the previous video, the Edith Holden Altered book. I just can't believe it. I'm just gobsmacked at the amount of views that it's had in such a short time. And I just really appreciate from the bottom of my heart the support that you're all giving me. This community is just a fantastic community and just wonderful for the soul. So today I'm bringing you this Easter journal. As I've promised, I've had little sneak peeks in Instagram. It's turned out to be a very chunky thing, little lass, I'd say. So I'm calling it a keepsake journal now because it's more ideal for popping photos in and memorabilia, tickets, things like that. And I have made a naked little journal in the middle so that you've got somewhere to journal on. It's turned out much chunkier than I expected. I was intending to do a hollow spine, but when I tried, it was my first attempt, I failed. Put it that way. I don't know if it's because the pages were too heavy, but I just couldn't get that middle spine to glue down properly. So you can see it's got just layers and layers of doilies and lace, a couple of little modern pieces, but not so much, more vintage and antique. This is actually antique. So let's get into it. She's quite big. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to go through every page because time wise. This is a lovely little lingerie, piece of lingerie that I found last week, and all the colours, it's a very blush pink, and all the colours just went lovely with what I was working with. So I've used the tie as a closure, and this little gorgeous earring that I had, I've just popped sewing on there. So I have used a few digitals in here. I've used the Wild Sunflower 1233 from Etsy by Boho Love that I first saw on Instagram, but then went to Etsy and bought her digital kit, and Wizards Art Designs, and of course Chapter 1, Sam Paul and Tailor Made, and then a couple of little Tracy Fox labels that I can't go by without using, and a couple of Tim Holtz paper dolls. So on here, when I put the lace down, the little bunny that I printed onto fabric, it just got lost, so I've put some bubble wrap underneath it to lift it up and give it a bit of dimension. And then I've got these little flowers, ribbon embroidery off a tablecloth. Yeah, inside more layers. So starting off with just a little Easter Blessings card that I've backed. It was a vintage card, and I've altered it and backed it with paper, and then that's the inside cover with that little pocket. Nice little it's a reproduction, turn of the century reproduction card, and I've just cut it up and altered it. A nice sweet little baby. We all love a little baby at Easter time. Lots of layering and collaging in this book. And there's a little fairy card. I've used lots of vintage wallpaper pieces that I've had. It's a lovely little lamb card. I did some dyeing with some geraniums. I'll keep talking as I flip through because there's so much to see. It's just a piece of ledger. a bit of ephemera there. So I went out into my garden and I picked some beautiful deep purple, actually pelargoniums, not geraniums, and I boiled them up thinking I'd get a nice mauvey colour, but what I actually got was a blue. These little reproduction cards from a book, and I've just made them into little postcards. Backed them onto paper out of another old book, you know, the fly sheets from the book. Lovely Easter picnic, I thought that was. And this is just from children's book page, backed onto some nice old wallpaper that I have, and then I've just layered it up with a label and some gauze and a die cut from my Sizzix on the back there, and then a little filigree heart. And there's Mr. Ted sitting on the cotton reel looking down at the Easter eggs. Oh, so I've just taken the April out of the Edith Holden book because Easter's in April, and there's one of her pictures. This is a glossy picture because it's out of the Edith Holden craft book, and I haven't done anything with that because I thought the person that gets this journal just might like to do something with it. I've made a lot of little collaging little snippets, if you like, because I thought that somebody might like to make their own tags, or just do some more collaging on pages, or use it for another journal. So this is that pelargonium paper. It turned out lovely colour. Another little reproduction picture. And I backed some pianola paper on here, put her into some old music paper, and some little Easter bunnies there, just with another collage tag out of old ledger, 1925 ledger that, and I just put it in because I love the colours. It's a little bit eclectic, this book. It's not just bunnies and eggs. I thought I'd mix it up a bit. Little collage pocket there, and here's a few little pieces of wallpaper. Just go in there. And this is a very vintage lace, this one. This is a little pocket that I made. It's all collaged together, little pieces. And then in here I've just popped a couple of little tags. This is a very old playing card, and I've backed it with some of the vintage wallpaper. And there's a couple of cards just out of the pack. I think these ones are, oh, I should check. I think these are from the Wild Sunflower set, and I've just kept them plain. And here's one of samples, lovely little prints there. And that very old piece of vintage, well actually it's probably antique wedding dress that I have. I haven't got much of it left, I've used lots of it. And this is off that lovely piece of lingerie, little ruffle there, lovely little card. And just some vintage ads out of 1958 Women's Weeklies. And I've just popped them in there. I thought the colour went, and like I said, this is going to be a little bit eclectic, so there's a few different things like that. Another one of those lovely cards. Now I'm sure this is from By Boho Love. She showed, and that's the Edith Holden piece. She showed her digital on Instagram by Boho Love, and I loved it. I thought it was a little bit different to the normal bunnies. And this is an envelope, altered envelope in here, which I just popped that in there. Nice piece of vintage fabric there, and one of Tracy's labels. Left that blank for journaling. And this is the first little cluster that I've popped in. Was a very old book, this book. You'll be able to see when you feel it, how brittle it is. I think from memory it was in 1945. So I've just popped these little pieces in because I feel that whoever buys this just might like to make some more tags or journaling cards. It's a lovely little story from a children's book page. And a little Tim Holtz boy sitting up there on the fence looking down at the basket full of eggs here. And a piece of the old wallpaper. Lovely little charm, bunny charm there. I'll just bring it over just in case you can't see it. There you are. Little bunny charm. Collage in there. Little piece of grid paper. And this little bunny. Isn't he cute? Sniffing up at a butterfly. Another little journaling card. I did use some stickles on some of these butterflies because I've got so many things in my stash and I just don't feel like I'm using them enough. So I thought, well, I'd better start using them. Now this, I love this. Isn't this gorgeous? This little boy and girl. And this I'm pretty sure is from the Wizard Art Designs on Etsy. Little Tracy Fox label in there. And I've backed that with some old German dictionary. They go in there, little Tim Holtz slotted die cut and a little heart that I made and just wrapped it with some material and string. And this is just a lovely piece of book, children's book page. I thought went well in there. You could back that and use it as journaling space, but I've just left it that way to let the person that gets us make some decisions about what they'd like to do. This is a vintage, authentic vintage envelope. Just popped a bit more of that German dictionary in there. And then one of Boho Love's little pictures there. So I've just made that a little envelope. Oh, is that lovely paper? This is an old piece of music. Well, it's not music, but it's all about music, Australian music books, a list of Australian music books. And you can see it's old because of the price. 3 and 6, 4 shillings, etc. Another little cluster here. I won't pull it off because these little tiny Tim Holtz paper clips are pretty hard to get off and on. So that's just another little pad there that I've made, and you can either keep it as that and use it for journaling, or you can pull it apart and make tags or whatever you like with it. Another little, well, that's quite a big tag, that one. I won't pull it out. And this onion skin pocket. Lots of nice old lace on here. Bit of collage in there with a paper doily. And that side, more of that beautiful blush pink. And this was the cover of a story, The Little Grey Rabbit, and I just thought that was lovely, so I've popped it there as a little up tuck and just popped this little piece of paper in there. Bit of vintage. It has got little bunnies on it, that material, so that just goes in there. And here's some more of these steckled butterflies. I cut them out using my Cricut probably a couple of years ago, so now I'm just trying to use up my stash, as I've said, and I've steckled them and just popped them on there. Now this is the little naked journal that I've made, so you can pull that out and just use that for journaling. It's even small enough to go in your handbag, and it's just all completely naked. It's got the geranium paper, some tea dye paper, like that. This is gorgeous, this bluey bluey paper. It's got little tinges of yellow in it. Oh, and it's got these 2 printed pages. I forgot about those. Just that one and that one. And the rest is just the blue. So that's just a nice little journaling space. That beautiful cross on there. And I've put netting on top of there with these sequins and sewn all around it. I have sewn a lot of these pages too. I forgot to mention a lot of the lace I've sewn on. Some I haven't. I'll pop that on after because it takes a bit of doing. Now this is such a cute little card. It's a thinking of you card, which I think at Easter times you often are thinking of someone. You're in my thoughts today. Now it's a really vintage little card. I've done absolutely nothing with it. I thought the person might like to use it or just journal in it. So, but I just thought it was so sweet. I've done a little bit of a stamp there because you're so nice. More collaging. It's just become so chunky because I did so much collaging. And in here is one of Sam Paul's little images. And here was this lovely old hot cross bun recipe. And I'll just put this picture on top. Yeah. And over the page, another little girl. So this is a little family of girls celebrating Easter. And here's a lovely little bunny tag, just backed onto old photograph book paper. A bit of the vintage wallpaper there, so that is another touch. This is just a lovely piece of music paper, book cover. And here's another journaling card. Bit of that vintage material there. And then another little cluster of things there, piece of ledger, piece of that beautiful wallpaper. And then here, Mr. Ted. Someone forgot to tell Mr. Ted it's Easter and stopped working. And this is just a piece of ledger that I've just stamped. Pop one of Boho's little pictures. I fussy cutted that one out. And then blank on the back for journaling. And on this music sheet, I've made a pocket. I've just done a ruffle there, a chill ruffle there with a little flower. And this, I've added a piece of pianola paper here and then just put some texture paste over it. And this side, beautiful vintage wallpaper, and I'll put this antique applique on it. It's just beautiful, this. I don't know what I'm going to do when it's all gone. It's nearly all gone. That's just, I found that in a Reader's Digest and I just thought it went all right. And there the blues. And this is another ad out of a 1935 garden magazine that I have. And I just thought she looks sweet. She wants her cold to stop so she can enjoy her Easter. The ads that they did in those days were just so nice compared to today's ads. Now, this is a sewing page. You might all ask, why would you put sewing in an Easter journal? When we were little girls, I came from a family of 7 and my mother was a dressmaker. And we always got a new little dress at Easter time. I think because it was the mark of a new season, you know, spring in New Zealand. And yeah, we always look forward to our new Easter dress. And now my children who have children, so my grandchildren, the tradition is for them to get new pyjamas at Easter time. So there's a few little things there. This, I'll just show you this. This is out of a 1935 knitting pattern book that I have. It's very frail, but I just thought it was lovely. It could be used for tag making, collaging, anything like that, even a masterboard. And this pattern is also a very old pattern, and the way that you know that it's very old is because it has actually no printing on it. They did all their markings with little holes and things like that. And I actually remember when they changed, it must have been in the 60s, because I remember Mum saying, you know, that the patterns were easier to use because they had writing on them, but these patterns didn't have writing. So I've made a little ruffle there. It's not too fragile because it's got lace on the back of it, so I think it'll hold up. And that little girl, I cut off the front of the pattern and I just backed her with a piece of card so that she's quite nice and stiff. And that's just a little bit of the pattern, 4 shillings. Nice little cross paper clip there. And then over here we've got some vintage buttons just held on with a paper clip. This is an envelope that I've covered with pattern and some old snaps. And then in here I've backed the pictures with a bit of coffee dyed paper, the pictures of the pattern, and you could use those as little journaling cards. That is the idea behind those. And then over here we've got another sample little cluster. I've just made a little sample card out of that piece, and then I've popped these underneath so that you can use those as journaling cards. And a little cluster on the bottom there. And then another little cluster here on a paper clip, just with a little bit of seam binding for a ribbon. That's out of the front cover out of that book that I've been using all the way through. This is very vintage lace, this one. I'm nearly coming to an end of that as well. And this is an altered envelope. What did I put in there? Oh, just another piece of tea-dyed paper. Leave that like that. And this is a very old playing card that I've backed with more of that book fly cover. Popped in there, a bit of collage in. Little swing tags I've just put underneath that vintage button so they don't come off. They just hang there, a bit of collage in there. Another little cluster up there. And more children's book page in here. This is just a little bit tricky to get out, this one, because I didn't think when using pin tucks you have to make sure that the seams align the right way so that things don't grab on them. And this is just a bit more book page made into little journaling cards. I just thought these vintage children's book pages, they were so gorgeous. I just love their artwork, and I thought they just lent themselves to this little Easter theme. Beautiful Mrs. Rabbit there. She's glued down as a little collage, and I've just put a bit of tulle and seam binding ribbon for her apron there. And here's a lovely little Tim Holtz doll with butterfly wings and sitting on top of the basket of eggs. What more could you want? Another sample image on another envelope. I haven't put anything in that one. Little swatch of material and lace there with some lovely vintage buttons, and I've just popped them onto that paper clip. There's that bunny again chasing those butterflies. Oh, I love this piece of children's book page. It's I just thought, you know, Easter. It's got the Lord's Prayer on the back there. But if you didn't want to keep that, you could just, you know, use it, make a tag out of it. More texture paste there. and pianola paper. And then this lovely envelope here, I've just changed up. Actually, I think this, oh no, that wasn't a first day cover, that was just a vintage envelope, and I've just altered it. And that was the back side. And then inside, that's right, inside was a lovely vintage Easter card, which I haven't done anything to because I thought you might like to use it. Let's leave that there for a moment. It's the back side to that music book cover. Another piece of paper, vintage line pad that I had, and I've just done that with it. And then just a little invoice in here to remind us at Easter time we still have bills. You tend to forget about all your bills on holiday times. And that's another little pocket that I've just collaged all these pieces onto the lovely vintage wallpaper there. And here's another bunny ticket. Oh, I won't take it off. They're just so, I don't know if it's my fingers, but they're so tricky to get off and on, those little Tim Holtz. But there's a lovely little charm on the side there. Might pick it up so we can see it. Just tiny little rabbits. And then on this side, we're getting to the end now. There's the old auntie that came to visit for Easter. She's just backed onto a very old piece of photograph book page. And another sample. Oh, I haven't done that as a... Oh, yes, I have. I was going to say, I did it as a tuck. So you've got a pocket there with the lace, or a tuck up there. One of Sam's lovely images, and that's the back page, which I've done nothing to because I like to leave scope for the person that gets this to do something that they might like to do. So it really is a gator mouth. So if you're looking for a flat book, this is not it. But it would stand nicely on a shelf like that. And it is very pretty. Just turned out much bigger than I expected. Now the other thing is, because I was running out of space to put things in, I ended up with a lot of leftovers. So I'm going to add these. In. My motto, my New Year's motto was to use up, deliver up, and get rid of, stash. So I'm going to stick to that. I'll put a few little pieces in here that I haven't used. And yeah, I've decided from now on, when I make journals, I'm going to give away the scraps with the journal so that whoever buys one of my journals will have something to continue on with. So little doilies. There's a picture of the one that I printed onto the front cover. That was a doily. I did have that in. It was one of my printed doilies that I scanned and printed. And then I glued it onto a paper doily. But just because I needed to take something out, so I took that out. And I put the stamped hat ready for a Easter bonnet parade. A few bits of beautiful wallpaper. This is wallpaper as well, but it's gorgeous just to use as embossed paper. It's that old wallpaper that they brought out and the decorators put it on the wall and then painted it afterwards. So that's that. And that one, that was a freeze. That was a freeze. And that's the lovely wallpaper that I used a lot of. And in here, I just left over scraps that could be used. And so what I did last night was, I thought instead of hoarding all the scraps, I'll make a masterboard with them. So I made this one, which is just on a 12 by 12 piece of paper. And I'll cut this up and I'll pop that in with this packet as well. But I still had this left over. and I couldn't bear myself to throw it out, so I'm sending it on. Okay, well that's all there is for now. And once again, I'd just really like to thank all my new subscribers, and particularly all my old subscribers that have been giving me continuing support. Thanks very much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.